All right, we want you to grab your phone right now, just like we're doing, because we want you to look at one of your apps that's on your phone.
We're talking about Cash App, which is a payment app. Then they have had a glitch, and it led to some customers getting double charged. Allison Gormley tells us what's the deal. Allison, I've been seeing people on social media talk about this.
Yeah, they're not happy, but that glitch affected certain Cash Card transactions, which is what Cash App has told us. Cash Card is their free debit card that can go with the Cash App account. While affected card users should be notified, it hasn't stopped some customers from sharing their negative balances that they said resulted from the glitch on social media. Now, the good news is Cash App said in a tweet that they have fixed the problem and will refund any amount that was incorrectly charged by the end of the day. And the Cash Card, we want to just mention right now, is connected to the Cash App balance, not the bank account. So if there's silver lining, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah, I saw people who were missing $5,000 from their account, $6,000 from their account, a lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money to people who need it sooner rather than later to make those payments. So
Absolutely.
hopefully it gets back soon.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Peer-to-peer payment apps like Venmo and Cash App are an easy way for your friends to pay you back after a night out. You can then transfer the cash to your bank or keep it in the app to use later. But the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued a warning earlier this month that people should avoid keeping money in apps long-term because it may not be insured if the app goes out of business. Data from Google shows many people are wondering if that's true. So, let's verify. Is money stored in peer-to-peer payment apps federally insured? Our sources are the CFPB, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Financial Technology Association, and the terms and conditions of Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. The FDIC provides insurance to banks that protects up to $250,000 in each of your accounts. This means that if your bank fails, your money is still safe. The FDIC doesn't offer this insurance for money stored on payment apps, and the apps make this clear in their terms and conditions. This means if an app goes out of business, your money is not insured. So, no, money stored in peer-to-peer payment apps is not federally insured. The safest thing you can do is to transfer any money you receive immediately to your bank. The Financial Technology Association, a trade group that represents Cash App's parent company, Block, and PayPal, points out that users can sign up for additional services that may provide protection. With your Verify, I'm
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Bahashem, that is to say, in the name of Yahweh Shai, his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man. FedNow, with no precise date in sight, is FedNow setting up what's to come, fireworks on these other payment apps and these peer-to-peer apps that, some of the most popular ones being Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. Is something in store for these apps, before this FedNow app launches, because by now they would have been told us a date that we could look out for, this thing to actually go up, go live. But here it is, the second, the third day in July, and we don't have an exact date other than late July as to when this app is going to go live. So it's something in the works, or fireworks, in store for these other major peer-to-peer payment apps. These payment apps such as Venmo, Cash App, and what's the third one? PayPal. And you see from the clips that I played earlier to start this lesson off with, that these apps are vulnerable because they're not insured or protected. And this is exactly how FedNow can use their app as to say, whoever used this peer-to-peer app is going to be backed, like if you had a bank account. Because for most people, some people can't, get a bank account due to whatever situation they may be in. So these apps may be their next best choice. But what all happens when these, apps go up with the fireworks and you don't have protection? Because like the news lady say, some people have $5,000-6,000 in their apps, on their apps. So what happens if that app glitches and it's not back and you lose all your money? Are you gonna blow a gasket and lose it all? Well, let's read this article and then let's go into some scriptures. This is Reuters, and it says, Fed says 57 firms set to use FedNow. Instant payments after late July lunch. So here it is, we in July, and they've been talking about this thing going live since the beginning of the year, and we don't have a specific date, as we're going to read in this article. So what is that actually saying? That something could be possibly in store before this app actually launch, that's going to cause people to want to actually go live with this, because the backing of the Fed. So it reads, Washington, June 29th, Reuters, the U.S. Federal Reserve announced on Thursday that 57 firms have been certified to utilize its FedNow instant payment system after it launches in late July. Here we go again. They don't have a specific date, so they're telling you that something could possibly be in the works leading up into that launch date. That's gonna make that launch date, be worth it. The Fed did not provide a specific date for the launch. See, they not. You would think this close to launch day they could have a specific date, but they not providing a specific date. And you got to question yourself. Think about it. If this thing is to go live in a few weeks, why can't they tell us a specific date, other than they must have something else, in store? They must have fireworks, for these other apps, or could possibly have fireworks in store for these other apps to glitch or to fail, or something to happen that's going to cause these people to panic. So the Fed did not provide a specific date for the launch, but 41 banks and 15 service providers, including large firms like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of New York Mellon, U.S. Bank Corp, and Wells Fargo, have completed formal testing and will be ready to provide instant payments after the new service is live. So these could be the banks that, could potentially give you some kind of relief, if you lost your money and you sign up with this FedNow app, you may be able to recoup some of that somehow, some way, some shape, some form. So you just have to be prepared and be aware, if you're using these peer-to-peer transaction payment apps, that something could potentially take place leading up until this FedNow launch date when it goes live. Because we're not even sure if it's going live at the end of this month, because they haven't given us a specific date yet. So anything could happen between now and that launch date when it goes live. So, be on the lookout. So let's go get some scriptures and let's go ahead and go from there. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. And it reads, For when they shall say peace and safety, this is what they're saying. This FedNow is supposed to be backed by the feds. It's going to be able to bring so many options as far as round-the-clock payments, 24/7, 365. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them. But at what cost is it going to cost you to use this? You may have money in your other apps, your payment apps, and once this FedNow launch go live, leading up into that, something catastrophic could happen where you lose all that money. And now you're forced to try to recoup some of that by going and taking this FedNow, and they may give you $1,000 to sign up with it, or some kind of incentive, to sign up with this FedNow, as long as you give them all your information and whatever else you have, so you can recoup some of that loss that you took. So it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's right. So, they telling you peace and safety, but sudden destruction is cometh upon them, and they should not escape. Basically, it's gonna be what it is. That's digital. Whether you want to get with the program or not. This launch date is coming sooner than later. They saying the end of July, but who knows when it could be. They haven't given a specific date, so you just have to be on the lookout and be prepared. For something to happen. Fireworks in the making. These major peer-to-peer payment apps. Something could happen where it could cause the whole system to go down. And then they have to come back up under the FedNow app. So now the apps that you've been using, they gonna be backed by the FedNow app. Who's to say that can't happen? But just look for something to happen, because they're not giving you a specific date on when this thing is going live, when they're gonna launch it. They're just saying by the end of July. So anything is fair game leading up into that date. So you have to be prepared. And ultimately, you have to be willing to, lose it all. So let's go to Revelation chapter 12, and let's go down to verse 12. Because this man is moving. He knows what's good. So Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. And that word devil just means deceiver. Because he's telling you, there's safety, peace in this FedNow, but on the other side there's destruction, and there's no escaping from this once you take, what he has in store for you. So it says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And that's why he got to roll this thing out. He can't keep pushing it back. So eventually he going to have to come with it, because he know his time is running out, like that hour clock. His time is coming to a halt. He got to get his whole agenda out. So he's doing this not because, he wants to, because he has to. Because he knows he's had but a short time. His kingdom is up. He's reading all the signs, seeing the people wake up. He got to put a stronghold on them. And one of his ways he can do that is by monitoring them digitally to see all their transactions, so he can hold each person accountable for what they do and what they spend. But what? Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Knowing all this, what must we be? 2 Timothy 1:7. For the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. So knowing these things are potentially in the making, we're not to be fearful, but we must have a sound mind. For the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. So we have to have a sound mind, knowing that these things are at the front, at the front doorstep, and these prophecies are coming to fruition. So we have to be prepared for this. So when they do come, we don't get taken, taken off guard, taken by surprise. Because a lot of these people, if this thing was to happen and these major peer-to-peer payment apps was to fold and they come back up under the protection of, the FedNow, now you have to give all your information that you so diligently tried to withhold from these banks, now you have to give it up to this FedNow just so you can recoup your money that you lost, and this all could be a transition over into that mark, or however they're gonna roll it all out at once. You never know, but you have to be prepared and not to be fearful, because the Most High didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So you see, this is, just a heads up, because by now they should have surely told us when they was going to go live with this FedNow lunch date thing being so impactful, But the fact that they keep it in a secret up until the last minute is telling in itself that you should know that something else could potentially take place leading up into that launch date when they actually do go live, and they actually tell us the day of, So just be prepared that, fireworks could soon persist, following up or leading up into that lunch date. So, that's just what it is. So let's go to 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. This is 1 Peter chapter 5, and let's read verse 8. And it reads, be sober, be vigilant, because we weren't given a spirit of fear, so we have to have a sound mind. So we have to be sober and be vigilant and know that, this devil has but a short time, so anything is fair game for him. To take your money and to recalibrate it and put it under this new FedNow app, that's nothing for him to do, because he can always move numbers and digits and move them around. He just want to get your compliance under his new law, rules, or whatever he puts on the book. So now you under that FedNow app, your money has been back, whatever you lost, or a percentage of that, whatever you lost. He can reinstate you under this FedNow app. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And if he can get you to buy into his belief or his cause that this FedNow app is the best thing, smoking since, peanut butter and jelly, let's just say, even though they don't smoke, but, let's just say that, he gonna get you to buy into it, because you need the money to pay for whatever bills you need. And you don't have a bank account. So most people I ain't gonna say most, but some people keep their money on these payment apps. And we seen through the past, few weeks, the Cash App glitch, and leading up to that, the Bank of America glitch, and leading up into that, the Silicon Valley collapse. So, this banking system is his baby, man. This is what he wants. This is what he does. He moves numbers around. Digitally now, he can make things look better than what they are. So it's nothing for him to come and give you something back that he took from you in the first place, just for him to get you to comply. So you have to be sober and vigilant, because he ain't playing by the same rules you playing. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So hopefully somebody was able to, get something from this lesson. If it be the Lord will, till next time. With that being said, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom.